And this video will be making a 12-inch square with a basket weave and a garter stitch edge. And here is the pattern I got wrote up. There's a fancier form of the pattern. This is a one-page printout that gives you multiple ways to follow the pattern. If you want, you can follow the pattern just by the chart. This section here highlighted in yellow and the rows are in red. That is what you repeat. And then I got it wrote out down here to where you can mark off the rows as you repeat. It says 7 through 14 and 15, 16, 17, you know, until you're back at your end. The texture we are using is a basket weave, and I'm using a 1/2 inch gauge 66 peg loom from Cindywood Looms. I will go ahead and show you how the loom is marked. If we look on this texture, we have 2 different sets that we do. We do 3 rows of one, then a knit row, 3 rows of the next. The circles are all purl stitches for the entire project. To help me remember which is which, so I don't have to constantly keep looking at this chart or looking at this, I have used stitch markers to help me. So I'll break this down. We have a garter edge here for our first 6 pegs. See the row of knit, row of purl, row of knit, row of purl, and see that goes all the way down for the entire project. That's what's going to give us this garter stitch edging here. So I marked peg 1, that's my starting peg, and I marked peg 6. I know for the entire project this section is going to be the same. I'm casting on 47 pegs, but I got peg 47, and then I went back 6, which would be 42. Yes, peg 42, and I marked that. I know the entire project what those stitches are going to be. From here, I marked the squares themselves. If I can pick this up. I used 2 different colors. I used yellow and orange. So here we know we're going to knit our 6. There we go. And then we got 4 stitches that are purled. So 2, 3. I'm using orange. I wanted to double check. I didn't remember which ones I used. So for this first set, I'm using orange to mark it. So I've got peg 10 marked, peg 14, peg 21, 25, 32, and 36. See, it's the beginning and the end of these purls, so I know that I'll be purling to the orange peg, then I'll be knitting 3, then I will be purling between orange, because there'll be an orange stitch marker here and here, right here. So I'm working, purling to here, there's an orange stitch marker, then I will knit 3 stitches and then start purling. I don't have to count these stitches because I've already got it marked out. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this section I will be purling 8, knit 3, purl 8. That's going to be the pattern until you get to your purple stitch, and then you'll be doing wherever you're at on your garter pattern. The yellow here marks these ones. So peg 9, let me see here, peg 9, 15, 20, 26, 31, and 37 will all be marked with yellow, which I'm marking the first and the last of the purl stitch sections. That just really helps me keep track of where I'm at. If you really need to, here's an older version of this when I was kind of working out some problems with it, but you can see I even highlighted the sections. I didn't have any pink stitch markers, but I put the yellow instead of the pink. And I even wrote down here, yellow, orange, if that's easier for you. That's how I ended up doing it. I would see, oh, I'm on an orange one, so I knew what to do for the next 3 rows. Oh, I'm on a pink one. I knew what to do for the next 3 rows. And you can see here how I've got it wrote out. I've marked off each row as I did it. That's how I followed it. As you can see, that version, I updated it to have those last rows on it. Because as long as you know how to do the knit stitch, any form of the knit stitch, and your purl stitch, which I will show you, I'll show you both, you just follow this pattern exactly how it's wrote out. Let's get our yarn, which I am using the Caron 1 pound. It's a number 4 yarn in espresso. This thing is huge, 16 ounces. Let me see how many yards. 812 yards, and it is 100% acrylic. So where's my tail at? Here it is. I'm using a chain cast on. To start this, we will start with a slip knot. Take the working yarn in your hand. You have your tail. The tail goes over the working yarn. Okay, here's the tail over working yarn. Creates this loop, and we're going to pull the working yarn through it, and that creates this slip knot. Your working yarn will go behind peg 1. We're going to use this slip knot, grab the working yarn and pull it through and tighten that up. Move the tail back there. Sometimes it wants to get caught. That gives us a new loop. This new loop will go behind the next peg. Take your working yarn, pull it through. Each time you are creating a new loop. We are casting on 47 pegs. The last peg, you just put the loop on it and tighten it up. When you start a row, your first peg is going to be the peg that the working yarn is coming from. Since the yarn's already coming from that direction, if we re-wrap it and work that peg, we're going to have a bunch of knots on the edge. We want the edge to look nice and even and symmetrical. See how nice that looks. And then when you go to join the squares, that makes it much easier as well. To keep these uniform, we skip, or it's called slipping, we skip that first stitch of every peg, and we will knit the very last stitch of every single peg. We are on row 1, which if we go at the top, it's showing our working yarn should be coming from peg 47, and it is. So we'll be starting this direction and working back to peg 1, and it is all knit stitches. Or if you want to look down here, it just says row 1, knit. There are 3 different forms of knit stitch you can use. If you use the true knit stitch, it's the exact opposite of a purl stitch. Take your loom tool, put it up through the stitch on the peg, working yarn over top the peg, or over top that stitch, I mean, and you're going to pull it down. And you've created a new stitch here. You take that old one off and put the new one on and tighten it up. That is the true knit stitch. You will have the most stretch with this stitch. I prefer to use the U stitch. I tend to have enough stretch with it, and I can knit a lot faster. So the U stitch is very self-explanatory, around the front, around the back, in a U shape. So take the bottom over the top. The third option is your flat stitch, which is just holding it straight over and knitting it. You're not pulling it back, you're just holding it straight. That will create a very, very tight stitch. It's very rare that you will see me use a flat stitch. My tension tends to be very tight. and that's how I end up breaking yarn or pegs. Go ahead and knit to your last peg, and I'll show you how to wrap the last peg of every row. Alright, so row 2, we are back at peg 1. Working yarn should be coming from peg 1, and it is. And we will be working from peg 1 to peg 47, doing a purl stitch. Except for that last peg, we will be doing that backwards U stitch, knit stitch. If you want to look down here, alright. I went ahead and show you the purl stitch, but everything is done with just knits and purls for the entire project. But you will be working your first 6 rows, well, I guess we could say 7, of garter stitch is what that's called, where you have 1 row knit, 1 row purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. Then you start your design, where you will be repeating rows 7 through 14 10 more times. And that will put you at row 94, right here. So 95, 6, 7, up to peg 101. Alright, I'll walk you through row 8 here, since there's knits and purls. So row 8, our yarn will be coming from peg 1, and we will purl 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stitches. And then we will knit the next 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we will purl 8, knit 3, purl 8. That knit 3, purl 8 pattern is repeated till we get to this other end over here. And as you can see, we can't finish out a whole set. We've got our, our purl 8, our knit 3, and then before we get to this edge over here, there's not enough for a whole other purl 8 section. So when it shows and how that's wrote out down here is you'll do your purl 9, then your knit 3, purl 8, and that repeats until you get to the end, and it tells you what to do there. Anytime you're looking at a pattern and you see the parentheses like that, that section of the pattern repeats till you get to the end. Go ahead and get worked up to your bind off point, and I will show you how to get this thing off the loom. Our 101 rows are done. I love this texture. We're doing a basic bind off. Even though the working yarn's coming from peg 1, we are going to work it again. So we're doing E-wraps, which if you're unfamiliar, the working yarn is called an E-wrap because, see, it kind of resembles a cursive E the way you wrap it around. So we're going to wrap that first peg, knit over, wrap the second one. So that's our step 1. We E-wrap 2 pegs and knit over. Our working yarn is coming from peg 2. We're going to move the stitch from peg 2 to peg 1. Go ahead and tighten that up. Knit over. Then we're just going to fill that hole in. So again, step 1. E-wrap. Wait, wrong way. There we go. I'm going to wrap the peg. Wrap the peg. That's step 1. Wrap 2. Step 2. Peg 2 to peg 1. Tighten up. Knit over. Fill in the gap. Alright, again. Take scissors and cut your working yarn. Give you a couple inches to, 4 or 5 inches to weave the end in really good. Then we want to lock that stitch in place. When you get it off, you want to stretch it pretty much in every direction. Isn't that such a fun texture? Again, it does look like a nice little basket weave, and you've done this with only knits and purls. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Questions, comments, leave in the comments section below. My email is in the bottom, in the description below if you need to contact me directly. Thank you guys so much for watching this video.